we've talked about repeatedly over the past several weeks and months here on Sirius XM 125 and Breitbart News Radio. The battle for the House majority is extraordinarily important. I want to go now to ground zero in that battle, in that fight for Republicans to hold the majority for President Trump and stop this radical leftist takeover of the Democrat Party. That is Nevada's 3rd Congressional District in the suburbs of Las Vegas. Joining us live on the line right now is the Republican nominee for Congress in Nevada's 3rd District, which, by the way, is one of those places where Republicans have a chance to take a seat away from a Democrat. It's currently represented by a Democrat, but he has an opportunity to defeat her. Danny Tarkanian joins us live now on the line. Danny, thanks for joining us here on Breitbart News Saturday.
Well, thank you, Matt, but I'll make a couple corrections for you. The first is this is by far the best chance the Republicans have to take back a Democrat seat. One, I don't have to beat an incumbent. She's running for the U.S. Senate, so it's an open seat. Second of all, this district has never been a Democrat district in a non-presidential election. The Democrats have never won this seat before. And finally, I'm running against an opponent. Besides the fact that she has a lot of money, she's not a very good candidate. She came in 3rd place in her only try before in a Democrat primary and lost by 20%. We're leading in all the polls, but it's a very close race. The district's pretty evenly split, so it's not like it's going to be an easy race, but it's one we should win if we run a good race and we have the resources to get our message out.
Mm-hmm. So now, speaking of your opponent, Susie Lee, she's the Democrat there. She is very close and aligned with Nancy Pelosi. Can you tell us about Susie Lee's ties to Nancy Pelosi?
Well, I mean, Nancy Pelosi, they helped recruit her to run. She's raised her millions of dollars. She's raised more money. She's raised twice as much money as the incumbent raised in her last election. And this is the way it works. They find a candidate, and they look for a woman candidate to run in these suburban districts because they think President Trump won't work well in those districts. And then they prop them up with so much money that they mislead the public on exactly what kind of candidate this person is. Fortunately, we've had a lot of support on the Republican side. They realize how important this race is. President Trump did a fundraiser for me out in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago. Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle did one 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, and Vice President Pence did one in Washington, D.C. last week. So we're getting a lot of support on our side, too. It's going to probably be the most expensive congressional race in the country.
Mm-hmm. And so now, and the reason for that is that, again, the so-called magic number on the House majority question is 24. If the Democrats take a net 24 seats, they're able to take control of Congress, and Nancy Pelosi becomes the speaker again. She gets the gavel. Maxine Waters chairs the Financial Services Committee. Adam Schiff chairs the Intelligence Committee, if all that happens. And now, so that's why each one of these races were, and yours is the best opportunity, I think, in the country. The Republicans have an opportunity to take a seat away from Democrat control. It's like a twofer. And so the fact of the matter is that this is why it's so important. This is why the president's there. This is why the president's son is there. This is why there's so much energy there in the suburbs of Las Vegas. Now, can you put into play for us here, Danny, the stakes that are at play on November 6th in this midterm election? What happens if the Democrats take control? What happens to the Trump agenda?
Well, first of all of these great things we're seeing in the economy are going to get reversed because they're going to vote to either repeal much of the legislation that President Trump has gotten passed with the Republican-controlled Congress, or they're going to put a hold on anything new that the president is trying to pass. So we're going to lose all that. Second of all, there'll be impeachment hearings on President Trump. They'll spend the next 2 years until the next election having hearings questioning who President Trump had a relationship with when he was a teenager and all these other ridiculous things they're doing now. And third, you're going to see more and more of these ridiculous allegations like you saw with Brett Kavanaugh coming out, and many of them will probably be associated with either people that support President Trump or President Trump himself. It'll be a complete halt to what President Trump has done over these past 18 months.
Mm-hmm. And so I think the Kavanaugh thing really woke a lot of people up because they realized this isn't just happening to Trump. It can happen to really anybody, anybody across the country. And by the way, the Kavanaugh thing didn't just drag Brett Kavanaugh and his family, his beautiful family, through the mud. They dragged all sorts of other people into this thing, including different people that were just claimed by this accuser to be at a party or something. I mean, there's all sorts of people that are just regular folks out there living their lives. I think that what happens if the Democrats take control of Congress is that almost anybody's at risk. Anybody's at risk of being dragged into one of these messes.
If what would have happened with Kavanaugh stopped him from becoming a Supreme Court justice, it would be open game for anybody to make an allegation against anybody, no matter how many years ago it was, without any corroborating evidence, and everybody would be exposed. And like you mentioned, it isn't just Justice Kavanaugh and his family, which was being affected, which is bad enough. But you're talking about all the collateral damage, the innocent people that just get brought into these things. In fact, what's really amazing is the accuser listed 4 people that allegedly were at that house and witnessed the event or had knowledge of the event. One of them was her best friend, and her best friend wouldn't support her. And then the left is making it look like the Republicans won't believe a woman who makes these type of allegations when even the best friend of the accuser has come out against him. So it's really ridiculous where we've gotten. And again, it's a good thing it didn't. Kavanaugh was approved, and it's also very, very important for us to maintain control of Congress, because if not, we're going to see these type of investigations throughout the rest of President Trump's tenure.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that we're seeing is that in response to all of this, in the success of this administration, I don't think can be understated. I think we have the lowest unemployment in 48 years or 49 years, something like that, with 3.7% last month. The point is that, and not to mention all of these new trade deals, the negotiations with North Korea are moving along. I mean, President Trump is actually succeeding in denuclearizing North Korea. We're seeing him tear up the bad Iran deal, the Paris Treaty, and start to negotiate better deals for the United States on all fronts. We're seeing our border being secured. We're seeing immigration enforcement. It's just unbelievable the level of success that we're seeing across the administration. We could spend all day talking about this, but the point is that as that's happening, what we're seeing on the left is this violence. These protesters are getting nutty. I mean, they were banging on the door of the Supreme Court when Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed. We're seeing. We were just talking earlier in the show. There's somebody who a liberal professor. I mean, this is a college professor at the University of North Carolina who was just turned herself into police because she was caught stealing campaign signs. It's just unbelievable. I mean, what we're seeing happen across the country here with the left, they're just completely unhinged.
Yeah, and you're mentioning just everyday leftist people, but the leadership is what shocks me. A former candidate, or I guess you can call it Secretary of State Clinton's comments about how they got to get more violent with us, and Holder about kicking people who don't agree with them when they're down. It's just amazing that the leadership on this side has gotten so vile. And you know what the most shocking thing of it all is? That the left liberal media has so much sold their soul that they won't call out people who make those kind of statements and hold them accountable for them. And it's just amazing me how they're still protecting them.
Has Susie Lee said anything about Hillary Clinton's civility comments, or Eric Holder talking about kicking people? I mean, has she even denounced that at all, or said anything about it?
No, she hasn't. No, she cannot say anything about any of them, because they're all helping her raise money, and she sold her soul too. She has no chance to win on the issue. She can't win on the economy. She can't win on foreign policy. She can't win on the fact that President Trump keeps getting hostages released. So she relies upon their money so that they can run the deceitful, lying, personal character assassination ads. And we're at a point in our country that we're either going to stand up and do what's right and vote for people who care and love our country and vote for the things that will make it a better place, or we're going to vote for these smear tactics and from people that will lie and say anything just to get elected.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Dady Tarkanian, where can people go to get involved with you, help you out if they so choose?
This is the most important thing for all of you listeners. The Democrats are raising money in most of the major races by small contributors, but millions of them across the country. You just saw what Beto from Texas raised in the Senate, raised $31 million. He's doing it mostly with small donors across the country. We need your help. I need your help. Go to my website at tarknv.com. If we can just get $10 a person, just like what the Democrats are doing, to give us the resources to win, we're going to win going away. There will be a red wave because we're right on every single issue that we're talking about, and we have somebody in the White House who's getting things done. If we allow the Democrats to swamp the paid media part, they're going to lie, they're going to deceive the public, and many people are going to get elected.
All right. Well, Danny Tarkanian, as always, thank you for joining us here. This is ground zero, I think, in the race for the House majority. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Breitbart News Saturday.
Well, thank you. You guys have a great early afternoon.